Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Today, I am going to be sharing a review of the Tales from the Loop starter set from Free League Publishing. And you might be wondering, is this a must have addition to the Tales from the Loop series? Or can you easily take a pass on this? I'll tell you what, you're going to find out right after this. So come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the grand poobah. So this is take two for tonight. That's okay. I ironed some stuff out. Although I had to admit, I noticed right off the bat as we began the show, it was dropping a lot of frames in the stream. It was pretty bad. So I don't know. I have no idea what's cooking today. Maybe it's just an oddball off night. I don't know. Anyway, I am Jeff McAleer. I am your host here. I am the grand poobah of thegaminggang.com. So if this is your first time visiting me here on the Gaming Gang channel, watching the Daily Dope, normally I'm covering tabletop gaming news, kind of sharing all the new stuff that's going on as far as board games, card games, role playing games, and so on and so forth. But tonight, a little bit different. I'm actually going to be reviewing the Tales from the Loop starter set. So this is just a little something. I'm a little behind on some of my videos, so I did want to try to get caught up in a way. So last night I did an unboxing for Imperial Struggle, which is from GMT Games. Tonight I am going to be doing a review for the Tales from the Loop starter set, and then on tomorrow's show I'll go back to doing the news. So strangely enough, we had some people in chat when I started the stream earlier. I had some problems, so I just ended the stream and then restarted it after a few minutes. So I'm kind of curious what's going on here as far as the chat, if I have to restart the chat or what. Because I got to be honest, sometimes that does happen. So let me take a look here real quickly and make sure that for some strange reason we're not seeing that this is like not public or something. Things have been just bizarre as of late with my social accounts, I guess, social media accounts. Yeah, it looks like we're streaming, so we should be good. All right, good deal. Just wanted to double check. There you go. Flaming Heron popped in the chat as well. Anyway, I do want to point out that if you like the video, or maybe you're feeling sorry for me tonight, by all means, please give the video a quick thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you do subscribe, ring that little notification bell. It will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload standalone videos, such as my usual unboxings and reviews and interviews and so on and so forth. So, do want to point out there is chat. It is available since if you are watching live, it is not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question or a comment, maybe there's something about the Tales from the Loop starter set you want to chime in about, by all means, join in the chat. I will do my best to respond. So without further ado, let's jump right on in because I am looking at the Tales from the Loop starter set from Free League Publishing. I am going to be reviewing it tonight. It is written by Simon Stollenhag, Niels Heinz, and Thomas Harenstam. think I'm close on the pronunciations of those. And the artwork is provided by Simon Stollenhog. This hit stores yesterday. It is available for $29.99. You can get it in PDF at Drive Through RPG for $4.99. It shows that it's got a 192 page count over at Drive Through RPG. That is not correct. You're going to see that for a fact right here and now. So let's pop on over to the overhead camera. Bingo. Now it's working. Thank goodness. It was not working previously. I switched over to this shot and I was like, what the hell's going on? Strangely enough, I have had some issues lately with the capture device that this Sony camera is connected to, which kind of ticks me off because it's the more expensive Elgato capture device. And it's sort of like, okay. So this is the box set right here. I'm not going to read everything from the back, but I will give you some of the flavor text. As the robot thundered across the rye field towards the police van, I realized the line had been crossed and that it had been crossed many hours earlier that day. Maybe it happened when we broke into the warehouse down at Saturna when Olaf found that strange backpack. I should have realized it then when Olaf slipped his hand into the big glove and the thing under the tarp came to life. Or maybe it all started when we ran away from home before lunch. Summer days are so full of events, it's hard to remember how they all fit together. And it kind of talks about what's in the box. We're going to crack this open. I already did an unboxing of this previously. So first off, we've got the custom dice. These are just regular six-sided dice. They are nice. We've got 10 of them. And we get a special symbol for our six because this utilizes the Year Zero engine that many of the Free League publishing games utilize, or a variation thereof. And essentially, you have a dice pool. You roll so many dice, and you're looking for a six. If you roll a six, you get a success. If not, no success for you. So we have the rule book. I'm going to take actually everything from the box. We got a little game catalog there. And I will share this with you. Do want to mention that I am going to talk a little bit about the adventure that's included in this starter set. So beware, here there be spoilers. So when I get to the adventure booklet, if you are hoping that your game master is going to pick this up, then I would certainly recommend that you tune out. Kind of like, all right, see you tomorrow. Thanks for popping by. All right, so we're going to take a peek through here real quickly. So if you are not familiar with Tales from the Loop, it is a role-playing game that is based on the artwork of Simon Stollenhag, who has created this Swedish alternate 1980s and with things from the flood 1990s, where it's kind of nostalgic. And then we have this weird technology that's also included in the mix, technology that never actually existed in real life. So it kind of gives us a background about the loop, Tales from the Loop. There are two settings. There are two loops. There's one in Sweden. There's one in the US. Talks about the dice. Role playing, how does it work? Kind of a very nice introduction to people who have never played role playing games. I will point out that I think this is really well presented towards those who have never played a role playing game whatsoever. I am going to mention right now, and I will discuss this in much more detail as the review continues along. I am really torn by this product. I really, really am. And I think a lot of people will completely understand where I'm coming from with my critiques. So, talking about rolling dice, principles of the loop, everyday life. So, essentially, what Tales from the Loop is that the characters are all teenagers and they're younger teens. They're not 18, 19. We're talking more along the lines of 13, 14. You could even have a character who's maybe 12 years old. So these are kids. So you're role playing as kids and you're solving mysteries, is essentially what's going on with Tales from the Loop. This system does make for a really nice one shot or very short campaigns. Talking about Age of the Loop. Much of this is drawn directly from the core rule book. I do want to point out. So if you already have the core rule book, I know there are folks out there who are kind of curious. Well, I've got the core book already. Should I pick up the starter set? We'll talk about that in a bit. So one of the cool things, especially in the core book, we see is a lot of little sidebars, little side boxes that harken back to the '80s and movies that were popular and songs which were popular, games that were popular. Talk about role playing games that were popular at the time. So now we kind of get into an explanation of the characters themselves. We don't really have uh, rules to create your own characters because there are some free gens that are included in this as well, which is typical with starter sets. We normally do see free gens, and a lot of times there are no character creation rules. So that's nothing unusual, but this kind of gives you an idea of the like the driving force behind the character. Each player character should have like a driving force. Their character should have a problem that needs to be solved that has nothing to do with the actual adventure they're going on. So we get pretty much this section here is just talking about the rules of the game. And there aren't a lot of rules to Tales from the Loop, not just in the starter set, but in the core book as well. This is a very rules light game system. Let's talk about the skills and kind of backgrounds as far as the characters as well. One aspect of Tales from the Loop that a lot of people find a little unusual is that you don't kill off player characters. It's just not done. That doesn't mean that you can't have NPCs. And you can't have get buy the farm or take a dirt nap, but you are not necessarily supposed to do that with the player characters. Once again, another reason why I feel Tales from the Loop makes for a really good system for one shots and short campaigns, as opposed to something you're going to continue playing on for years and years. So we do get the 5 pre-gens. So we actually get both the Swedish and we get the American versions of the characters. We get the character sheet on the back. So we've got Linda, Isabella, Friedrich, Tim, and Maria. And as you can see, taking a look at the character sheet, not a whole lot of stuff that you need to really have to dive down into. You've only got 4 attributes, you've got different conditions, and you've got a small selection of skills. One of the major aspects from Tales from the Loop are relationships. And that's why you see we've got a section on each of the pre generated characters for different relationships, positive and negative, and neutral as well. So, and it's kind of talking about the relationships that each of the characters have with each other as part of the group. So there are the pre-gens. We also get, and I like this quite a bit. We also get this map, and this has a nice finish to it. This isn't just paper. So we have the loop in the US, which is in Boulder City. And the loop is this kind of strange. I don't want it's like this strange facility. They're doing these weird scientific experiments and things like that. People who work for the loop don't really talk about what they do for the loop. So it's and it's kind of cool because the loop can sort of be whatever you want it to be. There's a lot more to the background of this game world that's of course not in the starter set that is included in the core rule book. Very, very interesting stuff and very, very cool, very unique. Of course, there is the series on Amazon, which I still have not had an opportunity to watch. I got to get around to watching that. So this is very cool. I really like this. And then finally, we have the adventure, the recycled boy. As I mentioned, we're going to actually kind of dive into this a little bit, and there's some spoilers. So, the way the adventures work with Tales from the Loop is they're almost like a flow chart. And in fact, we'll see a little tiny one for this adventure itself right here. So it's kind of like introducing the mystery, going to Pele's house, the boat, the bunker lady, and then the showdown. Normally, with longer adventures, you would have many more items branching off along the way to create a mystery tree. I guess we would consider it. But this is kind of an overview of the various different locations. So, in essence, this is the story about a couple who cannot conceive a child, so that they decide they're both scientists, so they decide they're going to create one. So they create a robot boy. So that is the gist of the adventure itself, that the player characters learn about this boy, but they don't know that the boy is actually a robot, Pele Ang, or Charlie Bradford, depending on which location you are looking at running the game. So, one aspect of the adventure here, so we got a little bit of info on the different NPCs. Those are Charlie's parents, the baby robot, the bunker lady. This is a very short adventure. I can't see this adventure taking more than about 3 hours because there's really only three locations that the player characters are going to explore. It is an interesting adventure, though, I have to say. It is better than most introductory adventures as well. And it's not, even though you're playing characters who are young teens, this isn't necessarily a kiddie story either. Of course, you can see we've got the handouts and so forth as well here. So, like I said, we've got the three different locations and then the showdown. Like I said, nice introductory adventure. So, that is kind of the issue that I have with Tales from the Loops starter set here. It is nice. I like it, but I don't really see a value to it. So let's once again, I'm gonna show you what comes in the box here, right? So we got this cool map. I like the map. This is a cool map. Reality is, how much use you're really gonna get out of it. I mean, even though this is a nice, cool looking map, you can easily look up Boulder City, you know, on Google or whatever, pull up a map. I am not even going to try to pronounce. I think it's Muso is the name of the island here that the loop is located on in Sweden. So we get this. I like that. We get the 5 pre-generated character sheets. We get the adventure. We get the rules, and we get 10 dice. So that's what comes in the starter set. And a grand total of how many pages is this? I know the adventure is 16 pages, is 32. So we're looking at 48, 48 pages of gaming material. And that's what comes in the box with the dice and the cool map. I don't think this is worth $30. I really don't. And that is, like I said, I'm kind of frustrated by this in reality because I really like Tales from the Loop. I think Tales from the Loop is a really cool system. I think it's a really cool background, nice story background. I keep pointing out, I think Tales from the Loop, as well as things from the Flood, make for really interesting one shots or short campaigns, maybe 4 or 5 sessions long, probably no longer than that. The issue I have with the starter set outside of the 16-page adventure, if you already have Tales from the Loop, there's no reason you should pick this up. No reason you should pick it up. Like I said, it's a nice adventure. It is not by any means world shattering by any stretch of the imagination. It's a nice adventure. It's a nice introductory adventure. I can't really recommend this for somebody who wants to get into Tales from the Loop for the first time because you can get the same exact thing as what's in this box for $4.99, except you don't get the dice, which are simply six-sided dice. They're just six-sided dice. We're not talking about 10-siders, 8-siders, 4-siders, 20-siders, percentiles, anything like that. So, so Craig Martin's popped into chat. Good to see you. I was starting to wonder if suddenly chat had kind of crapped out because I saw Flaming Heron say, "Hey, I'm back," and then nobody else. Anyway, let me finish up my my thoughts here, and then we'll kind of chat a little bit. So I don't see the value in picking this up because you can get the same exact items for $5 at Drive Thru RPG and just use your own six-sided dice. I know there are a lot of people out there like, oh yeah, well, you got the custom dice. That's cool. Yeah, 10 custom six-sided dice. You're still talking $30. If you're somebody who's looking to check out Tales from a Loop for the first time, you can go to Drive Thru RPG right now. You can get the core book, the full core book, which I think does clock in at like 190 pages. And it is on sale for $12.49. So you can get the full core book. It's going to have all the rules, everything for you to roll up characters. It's got the same maps in it, except keep in mind, it is PDF. And there's a full length adventure, everything all right there at your fingertips for $12.49. So the reality, what I would recommend if you are interested in checking out the starter set, if you've never played it, if you don't already own the rules, I would say take a pass on the physical box. I get the feeling it won't be too long that this will be at a deep discount on Amazon. I just have a feeling because, like I said, there's not really much to this. And one of the reasons why I'm knocking it is because at the same price point, take a look at what we've been able to get into two starter sets for Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because the Essentials kit is effectively a second starter set. What about the Starfinder Beginner's Box? Jam packed with material. The Call of Cthulhu starter set, jam packed with material. 3 long adventures as well. Hundreds, we're talking, these other starter sets have 150, 200 pages of content. The Cyberpunk Red starter set from Artel Saurian Games is excellent. Once again, another starter set that is packed with gameable material for your $30. This, I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think comparing it to other starter sets, this really pales when you put it next to the other starter sets that are out there for a variety of different game systems. And I understand Free League was sitting there saying, hey, you know, all these other companies are coming out with starter sets and people are really going gaga for them. And it's a great way to introduce people to the game systems themselves or even role playing themselves. I think this is a rare misstep for Free League Publishing. So once again, if you have an interest in Tales from the Loop, I recommend going to Drive Thru RPG, pick up the PDF of the core book right now for $12.49. You can get the starter set in PDF for $4.99. Right there, you get loads more material. It's $20. Yeah, granted, okay, so you don't have the little physical books and you don't get dice. So go grab yourself a bunch of six-sided dice. You know what side has the 6 on it, and go to town. Get a whole lot more gaming material for Tales from the Loop at a much lower price, at 2/3 of the price of the starter set itself. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the starter set isn't bad. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. if I take it on its just alone in a vacuum, but I can't because I know there are all these other starter sets that are out there as well. So even though there's nothing technically wrong with the starter set, I can't give it a big recommendation for you to pick up. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I give the Tales from the Loop starter set a 6 out of 10. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't see anybody picking it up. I don't know who this is for. I got to be honest. I really don't. Don't know who it's for because the core book for Tales from the Loop is a perfect introduction to role playing games as well as Simon Stallinghaug's world. So don't really need this. Anyway, that is it for the review. So like I said, I am not a big fan of like giving negative reviews. I don't mind sharing my critique. And a 6 out of 10 is still not necessarily telling you, oh, don't buy it. Avoid it like the plague that it's broken. It's a broken design or something like that. Not at all. But once again, it's the first time I've run into anything from Free League Publishing that I didn't really crow about. So, not everything's gonna be perfect and great that comes out from every company, I suppose. Anyway, so Craig Martin was talking about looking forward to my reviews of Warhammer Fantasy 4E. So, yes, because Craig got a copy of the PDF for joining us live on episode 500. So, yeah, I kind of did that, kind of did a bit of a giveaway for folks who were watching live. See, that yeah, helps to watch, helps to hang out and watch. So, Craig also says, yeah, the new Pathfinder starter set looks good value for money too. That should be out in July. I think that is late July. I think it's still coming out right about the same time as Gen Con would have been. So I think we're going to get a chance to see that. So I just got an email from Aaron over at Paizo before I started the show. So I have to reach back out to him because he had asked if there was anything that came out the past couple of months that I might want to get my hands on. So I prefer, well, personally, I don't do the reviews for PDFs anymore. I have Sammy do that. And I know I actually need more reviewers. I need more PDF reviewers. So anybody out there who enjoys role playing games and has a little bit of knowledge about role playing games, hey man, I am certainly really looking for more PDF reviewers because Sammy's pretty backlogged. All right. So Flaming Heron points out, yeah, it doesn't look as great a starter set compared to others with Tales from the Loop. Yeah, it's not. I mean, for an example, Craig's talking about the new Pathfinder starter set that's going to come out. The Starfinder was about 150 pages of content. You got your dice sets, you got player pawns, you got pre-generated characters as well. I don't recall there being rules for maybe there were. I don't remember. I don't recall there being rules for character creation. Or if there were, it only took you up to a certain level. Because I know, like, for an example of the Dungeons and Dragons starter sets, they will actually have rules there for you to create characters. You only get enough info to take them up to about third, fourth level because you don't get all the spells, and of course you don't get tons of monsters and things like that. But yeah, those are all jam packed with role playing game goodness. And like I said, yeah, starter set's fine. It's okay. It's nice, I guess. I just don't see who it's for, especially since we already know that we've got the really awesome, any award winning, multiple award winning people could easily. That is certainly not a difficult game to wrap your heads around. All right. So it looks as if we're dropping some frames here again. I don't know what's going on. So I don't know. Thankfully, we're getting ready to wrap up the show. So Flaming Heron says, even when they don't have certain components as compared to their core books, I never look at starter sets as being the full game. They aren't. Only starter set, which I think is kind of funny, that It's really kind of the entire core game plus a campaign is the Traveler starter set, which is $69.99. So that is a much more pricey starter set than what we're used to seeing at about $29.99. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. Once again, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell. It'll let you know when I upload new videos, as well as inform you when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. I appreciate everybody watching live, especially after the screwiness in the first attempt at getting the show out tonight. So tomorrow I will be back with news. So keep in mind, I do have a bunch of stuff coming out. So I have my Kickstarter preview for Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria. I have my reviews for the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition Enemy in Shadows, as well as the Enemy in Shadows Companion. I've got a review of the Alpha from Bicycle Games. So a lot of videos on the near horizon. Anyway, thanks if you watched live. And of course, I definitely appreciate if you watch after the fact as well, even if you're watching on Memorex. So once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night / Thursday morning. I'll see you tomorrow. And as I like to kind of wrap up with, sign off during this time of pandemic, be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.